the ladies over the place. People with money.
Yeah.
They'll give you like a charitable receipt. So they put them in. Because
He was in the white Delta.
they're struggling.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
You hear that? That the lady said they're struggling. What's this? The lady is struggling.
So they're offering people the option to donate. They'll give you a charitable receipt if you donate those months of your membership. I might do that.
Yeah. I think we're supposed to be standing away from each other.
6 feet? It's a minute early still.
You guys are allowed to stand together.
In the same household.
Yeah.
Adonai roi lo exar, vino desher vitzeni, al mei menuchot ינעלני. נפשי אשובב ינחני במקלי צדק למען שמו. גם כי אלק וגיא צל מוות, לא ידע רע כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תרק לפני שולחן נגד צורריי. תשענת ושמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. The words of the 23rd Psalm, Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, shall not want. Giving me repose in green meadows, leading me beside the still waters to revive my spirit. Guiding me on the right path, for that is God's essence. Though I walk through a valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are with me. Your staff and your rod comfort me. You prepare a banquet for me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness shall be my portion all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much to all of you who are tuning in to accompany the family of Rose Shell, Zichronah Livracha, of blessed memory. Rose Shell was known to the Jewish people by her Hebrew name, Reza Chaya Chayo Friedel, Zichronah Livracha. She was the daughter of Charles and Fanny Altman of blessed memory, the wife of the late Edward Shell, blessed memory, the sister of Harold Altman, also Margaret Altman of blessed memory, and Claire and Sid Jacobson, blessed memory, the mother of Marla Navi Kaplan and Alan Shell, the grandmother of Andrew Kaplan, Emily and Josh Nozick, the great-grandmother of Scarlett and Connie. So we read in this week's Torah portion that our father Jacob leaves his hometown of Beersheba and journeys to Haran. On the way he falls asleep and dreams with a ladder connecting heaven and earth, with angels climbing and descending on it, with God standing beside him. In the morning, Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, Yesh Adonai v'makom hazeh v'anochi lo yadati. Surely the Lord is present in this place, and I did not know it until now. Immediately he built an altar to express his gratitude to God. And the rabbis explained that Jacob was not aware of the fact that the presence of God could be with him anywhere he went. He grew up in the house of Isaac and heard the stories of his grandfather Abraham, and nevertheless, he didn't realize that God was everywhere. And I'm wondering how many things we have in our lives, but nevertheless, we are not aware of them. The passing of a loved one is an opportunity to look back and see how much of their lives is in our own lives, to appreciate for all they did for us, to be grateful for them. The Torah tells the story of Joshua and the people of Israel who were in the midst of a great battle. Moses was on a hill holding up a staff in the air. As long as Moses had his hands raised, Joshua and the Israelites would win. But when he grew tired and put his hands down, the enemy will start prevailing. Moses realized what was happening, and he asked a couple of men to help him keep his hand in the air. But what I want you to see is that Joshua was down there winning the battle. But he did not realize the only reason he was winning was because Moses was on the hill holding up his hand. Without Moses doing his part, Joshua and the people of Israel would have been defeated. So today, as we remember the life of Rose Shell of blessed memory, we should be aware of all the blessings she brought to this world. Everything she did, every time she was holding her hands up for her family. But at the same time, should express appreciation for everything she did. From her elegance and sense of fashion that she inherited to her children, to her love and devotion for family and friends. From her non-judgmental character to her unique and delicious pancake. From her sharp intellect to her passionate knowledge of current affairs. All those wonderful experiences Rose shared with her family, and they did not go unnoticed, as today they are even more present. So next, I would like to continue with the eulogies, highlighting Rose's unique qualities, her importance in the lives of her loved ones, and her lasting impact on family and friends. So to begin with this process, I would like to invite a few family members to reflect on Rose Shell's life. So first, I would like to invite Marla to come forward.
I'd like to say a few words about my mom, Rose Shell. Mom and her twin sister, Claire, were born in Winnipeg on July 21st, 1932. They then returned to their farm in Saskatchewan with their parents, Fanny and Charles Altman, and their brother Harold. The farm was known as the Zonenfeld Colony, a Jewish colony just south of Weyburn, Saskatchewan. Luckily for Mom, the family moved to Winnipeg a few years later. They lived in the north end of Winnipeg where most of the recent immigrants settled. Rose attended Aberdeen School where she excelled and was listed on the school's honor roll for many years. She then attended St. John's Collegiate where she thrived as a student and made lifelong friends. Mom was valedictorian of her grade 12 graduating class. After graduating, she moved to Toronto. There she took a lab technician course. Upon completion of the course, Mom was visiting Winnipeg and she met Eddie Shell, my dad. They married May 2nd, 1954 on February 22nd, 1955, I was born. I guess you might assume from the math that I was a honeymoon baby. Rose, Eddie, and me lived for 3 years with Granny Bessie, Dad's mom, in a small 2-bedroom house on Lansdowne Street. Then they bought a home on Macklin Avenue in Garden City. 2 years later, my brother Alan was born. Life at 39 Macklin was pretty much average Jewish middle class 1950s-60s. Rose, not unlike almost every mom in the neighborhood, was a stay-at-home mom. Dad worked and she stayed home and raised us kids. In my mind's eye, I can still see Mom sitting at the kitchen table talking on the wall phone that was popular at the time. She loved talking on the phone. Her friends must also have shared that interest, for there was never a shortage of conversations. Our house was always spick and span, everything in its place, and polished and waxed. Mom was allergic to grime and clutter. There was always someone watching, searching for a possession or article of clothing that Mom tidied into oblivion. Shopping and breathing were synonymous to Mom. Her clothing was always the most current fashion, and the person's shoes always matched. Mom was truly a specimen of class and style. Very Jackie Kennedy-ish. There were many excursions to Eaton's and the Bay, as well as Holt Renfrew. Mom spent hours afterward altering many of her outfits by hand. I can still see her sitting up in her bed, mending all our clothes. Basically, Mom and Dad's bedroom was our family room, where we all congregated to watch TV and share stories. When Avi and I married in 1977, he became part of the clan and joined in on the bedroom group meetings. This continued in their home on Bard, which they built in 1981. Rose and Eddie had a great marriage. Often you could see them holding hands and laughing. Dad was always planning some activity or event, and Mom was happy to participate. Mom was a very special being and loved to attend parties, a very social being, and loved to attend parties and social events. They had a very large circle of friends who they saw regularly. Mom was always gracious and accepting. She wasn't critical or judgmental of her friends. I don't recall any arguments or confrontations with anybody, just camaraderie. Mom was also proud of her grandchildren, Andrew and Emily. There wasn't a birthday, tournament, or concert of theirs that Grandma and Grandpa weren't there to attend. Many Friday night, Shabbat, dinners were spent at Tony Roma's, or Earl's, or Pembina Village. Mom would be interested in what was happening at school or their activities. We all looked forward to our family dinners. There were also many memories of Mom at our cottage at Winnipeg Beach. She would haul a box of whatever outfits she'd be wearing that weekend and organize them very carefully on hangers in the closet. The cottage, like our house, had to be immaculate. The carpet vacuumed and raked, and the furniture oiled and pledged. Many hours were spent on the porch with Mom, Dad, Abby, myself, and the kids reading, playing games, and singing songs. I am most grateful to my mom for always providing me and my family with unconditioned love and respect. Without admonishment or criticism, I will always think of her as a support in my life, encouraging me to do whatever I felt was right for me and not questioning my choices. Thank you for all the good memories. I love you, Mom.
Thank you, Marla. I'd like to invite Alan to come forward.
Do I have to wear a mask? Well, first I want to say for all the family and friends watching, I'm sorry that you're not here to be with us right now. My mom was born beautiful and she died beautiful, without a wrinkle on her face when she passed. Razel Cheryl Altman Shell lived for one thing, to celebrate with her family and friends. She was as beautiful and elegant as Audrey Hepburn. She loved to dress in fashion and her hair was her fait accompli. Socializing was her main function, and she was adored by everyone, except the Eden's driver, since she returned half of what she bought, and the store eventually revoked her privileges. My mom was not an intellectual, political, or religious person. Her only focus was making sure her children were educated and healthy. She always defended me when my father was less forgiving. She always cared about me, no matter what I was doing. My mom and dad had an extensive social network, and every week there was a celebration. I imagine I get the extroverted party part of me from her. She also cared about her Jewishness, not in a religious way, but as a living culture. Later on in life, she started giving speeches at family and friends gatherings. She praised people and showed her communal love that she truly felt for everyone. In any case, my mom was kind-hearted, always excited when with family and friends, and rarely criticized people. I wrote a poem. There's a couple poems here. It's called The Coldness of Night. I wrote it when I was looking after her when in her last 12 days, when she stopped eating. In the coldness of night, in the long fight to end each other's plight, a loss of sight, wrong or right, when at the reckoning hour we wait with fright and dread the end's mighty bite, we that are left to share tears and love a memory, a shining light gone forever so bright and now out of sight. The cruelest of reality is its naked truths, and in that hour all hell breaks loose. Life itself holds you ransom, a handsome payment of love and tears, loss and fears. Forever is forever, until we ourselves pass, to join our beloved wherever, in all its realm, future, present, and past. Goodbye, my beautiful Mother Rose. Sorry. just have to get a tuning here. This is an ode to my mother. C'est la vie, c'est la vie. Life is living till you die. No more hugs, no more kisses, just my love and a sigh. I don't know where you've gone, but I feel you by my side. As long as I'm living, I'll cherish you with pride. C'est la vie, c'est la vie. 1, 2, 3, you are free. You left us with your memory, locked in our hearts with your key. C'est la vie, c'est la vie. Loving Rose has slipped out. Life is but a whisper. When it's gone, there's no doubt. C'est la vie, c'est la vie. It's your time to be free. C'est la vie, forever you will be. C'est la vie, I know you are well. C'est la vie, I say but farewell.
Thank you, Alan. Emily, please.
Grandma Rose was a wonderful and unique lady. In my personal experience, she always treated me with kindness, empathy, and respect, never criticizing or judging my choices. I always felt her unconditional love and support. She contentedly attended multiple competitions, concerts, and assemblies over the years, ranging from gymnastics and basketball to ballet, jazz, musical theater, piano, and finally to school. Whatever the occasion, she was there. Furthermore, I was always made to feel welcome at our grandparents' house. As a child, I have numerous memories of doing gymnastics in the living room, headstands in the archways, and helping myself to snacks. As I grew up, their house became a quiet place where I was always welcome to study. Grandma was happiest when she was with my grandfather. The two of them were always a team, amicably side by side at all times. They would lovingly refer to the other as dear, a tradition my own husband and I are carrying on. Beyond Grandma Rose's love for her grandpa, she had 3 passions. 1, spending time with family and her multiple friends. 2, cleaning. And 3, shopping and returning items. In reference to family, we would spend every Friday night together at Tony Roma's, summers at Winnipeg Beach, and winters in Palm Springs. Beyond that, we would spend all holidays, birthdays, and special occasions together, many of which were hosted by our grandma and grandpa. Grandma also remained very close with her brother Uncle Harold and twin sister Auntie Claire and their extended families, despite them all ending up in different cities. She would speak with them regularly on the phone, and they would visit each other for the constant family festivities or just for the sake of visiting. These visits gave my family the opportunity to maintain relationships with our out-of-town relatives to this day. In regards to friends, Grandma Rose was a social butterfly with a busier social life than myself, even as a teenager. The long-standing deep friendships my grandmother held on to for life is something to be admired. I only hope that I can maintain my friendships to the level that she did. Grandma's second passion was cleaning. Andrew and my lake friends can attest to our grandmother's cleaning tendencies. These friends would drop my brother and I off in the early hours of the morning only to find the light still on in the cabin and Grandma vacuuming. She was so dedicated to cleanliness that she would sweep the driveway to the point you could eat off of it. Speaking of food, Grandma was the opposite of your typical Jewish grandmother who loved to cook and bake. This is apparent from Grandma's hatred of butter, a fact commonly known by her friends, family, and restaurant staff. When we would go to our grandparents' house for a visit, we would be offered canned peaches and 7-Up, while our grandma would help herself to boiling hot water with lemon, which she would drink the second she poured it. I am still perplexed by how she managed to do this without burning her tongue. Despite her lack of proclivity for food, our grandma made a mean chocolate bundt cake, and there was always ice cream in the freezer to accompany it. There was also a constant supply of delicious salted mixed nuts to gnash on. Finally, our grandmother's third passion was shopping and returning. I must admit that despite the multiple people who adored our grandma, retailers were not amongst them. Luckily for those retailers, my parents went on to own their own clothing store, Village Streetwear, which alleviated that burden. The shopping paid off because my grandmother always looked flawless in her gorgeous, perfectly put together outfits and costume jewelry. Even when Grandma Rose was dressed casually with no makeup, she was always beautiful. More importantly, our grandmother had a beautiful heart and soul. Unfortunately, in our grandmother's later years, she developed dementia and was forced to endure a very difficult and slow decline. Despite this, in these later years, our grandma shared many very, very special times with my daughter Scarlett. I don't think there is anyone who looked forward to going to the Simpkin Center more than Scarlett. Her and Grandma would share French fries, and Scarlett would sing songs while Grandma smiled ear to ear. It was nice for my parents, too, because every time my grandma would receive a visit, it would provide light in an otherwise dark time. This was particularly true when Scarlett was there. Scarlett loved Grandma so much, she made a card that reads, "Grandma Rose, I'm sorry that you died today." She's 5, so... I'll be making you this card, and sometimes I'm going to want to eat fries with you, but you will be gone, and I'm going to miss you. Grandma, you leave this world loved by all and will always be remembered.
Thank you, Marla, Alan, and Emily, for sharing those beautiful memories with all of us. It surely helps to realize how we may be saying farewell to the body, but the essence of Rose will be present in each one of you every day of your lives. Sometimes it's tough for those of us who stay in this world, but from Rose's point of view, she's in the place of bliss, reunited with her beloved Eddie. With that in mind, I would like to continue with the memorial prayer, El Maleh Rahamim. El Maleh Rahamim, Shochem Bameroimim, Hametze Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShehina V'Ma'alot Kedoshim Kedoshim Uteorim Kezoyer Arakim Amazirim Ed Nishemat Ed Nishemat Rezachaya Vatshayu Freidel Shealecha Leolama Bavur Shenu Mitpalelim Biad Azkarat Nishemata Pagan Heidein Vegan Eden Tei Menuchata Lachem Balerachamim Ya Astirei Ya Beseder Kena Vavleolamim Utzerur Bitzrarachayim Achayim et Nishemata Adonai Unachalata Vetanuach Veshalom Al Mishkava Venomar Amen. exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure, to the soul of Rose Shell, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace, and let us all say, Amen. Please join me now in the recitation of the words of comfort, the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Itgadal ve'itgadash shemei Rabbah. Ve'alma divrach hiruteh, ve'amlich malchuteh, ve'chai echon u'vyom echon, u'chayei dechol Beit Israel, v'gala u'bizman kariv ve'imru amen. יהא שמר רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. ברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יש למה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. המקום ינחם אתכם בתוך של אבלי ציון בירושלים. May God bless you and comfort you. And let us all say Amen. So thank you so much for everyone on the internet for tuning in. We're going to stop the stream right now to proceed to a private burial with the family.